Among all things Space Marine 2 is definitely one of them, and if you ask me, the last place a proud warrior should be is face down in the dirt. Can you beat Space Marine 2 without using Revive? Joudutte to the Disgetsu, and today, my buddy Lienio and I are taking on this challenge. Back in the day, we no-lived Halo on Legendary, so we figured, why not relieve that experience and crank up the pain? If one of us goes down, it's back to the checkpoint. Our story begins with me making a critical error, thinking a hood with a helmet is a silly combo. For my crimes against the rule of cool, I was promptly thrown off the school bus. Guess I wasn't riding in style. Once I dusted myself off and turned on the subtitles, I learned my mission: kill team leader, both of them to assume I wasn't already planning on it. Next, I stared in disgust at someone's leftovers, learned how to swing a sword, and discovered that right click is, in fact, most off-putting possible button for melee combat. The next lesson: if an enemy has a blue icon, you can parry them. Well, that turned out to be a load of baloney. If something bounces at you, parry it. Blue icon or not, consider this a pounce of wisdom. Unrelated, your mom visited last night. Stepping into my first duel with a big space lizard, I felt unstoppable, right up until it beat the absolute soup out of me. The combat seemed simple, the parry window was generous, and yet, I somehow managed to donate most of my blood to a Spaghettisaurus. Moving on, the tutorial Tyranids taught me that they do, in fact, know how to use guns. This was deeply upsetting information. Later, I found a dead dude. Must have been the team leader, because my objective updated like a hotfix. New goal: follow the next quest marker until I'm legally required to press another button. Side note, I want a door like this. I wouldn't know stress anymore, unless there was a fire. This journey also taught me something about myself. I do not like getting whipped. Didn't see that coming. At least the climax made it worth the pain. Things were not looking good for my voyage of wonders. The argumentative geckos were dog-walking me, and I lacked the mental faculties to open a door. Running away was never an option, not because I'm brave, but because the Giga monsters would let me. I did the only thing I could do, stood my ground, and paid dearly in blood. Then came the moment of interaction. I placed a battery inside your mom's toy and helped shove it in. There's just something about doing it with your own hands. I did a little dance while waiting for her to turn on. You ever get that horrible sense of looming doom and gloom, like the universe is winding up to punch you in the throat? I'd settle for a punchline. All my struggles led up to the grand finale, me shooting what appeared to be a stinky firework into the sky. A bold strategic move. Next up on my journey of self-discovery had me battling a loving mix of a beetle, lizard, and a rhino. It was a pretty good cage fight. I gave it my all, dodged like a god, but it was not enough. In the end, I got defeated by a cutscene. On the plus side, I learned I was the team leader the whole time, meaning the mission was technically a success. On the downside, it wasn't, because I got glued back together like a budget Rubik's Cube and immediately demoted. And that's the name of the game. Now let me introduce the help I've been assigned. No, I can't get rid of him. This is where Lienio joined me. Next mission, Planet Avarax. Yeah, that name screams cleaning product, which is perfect, because we're here to clean up some slithering mess. They've set up these ground-to-orbit guns to hold the Tyranids at bay. Our job is to protect them. The guns, I mean. Of course, this is still the military. Nothing never goes right ever. The guns are kaput, and now it's on us to get them humming again. First order of business, help the toy soldiers with the laser pointers to push back against the meanies. I charged through the battlefield like I had multiple lives. Or multiple wives. Armor is cover. Watching the frilled lizards turn into grilled lizards, never a dull moment. After switching my melee to the thumb button, we made a worm lizard that could use dig attack. And I learned the hard way. Spamming the thumb button is a total pain. Pro tip, when facing another whipping lizard, just ignore its fancy moves and hit harder. Works like a charm. 2 hours in, and I can already say, this game makes you feel like a man. My testosterone was nearly at normal levels, and I was riding high. We even took a fun impromptu pit stop for some skeet shooting mid-mission. Then we bumped into the normies and politely asked them to open the bunker door. Surprise, surprise, it was jammed. Or otherwise just really slow. With the swarm closing in, I got to break in my new portable autocannon that shoots tiny rockets. It makes a pretty effective bonking stick, if I do say so myself. Once everyone, including me, stopped screaming, we stormed the bunker. Inside, surrounded by mincemeat scattered on the floor, I felt a sadness pang. Why didn't I bring a frying pan? And the fact that the game wouldn't let me run into that giant pan for a quick mangling, that's a black mark on my overall score. We pushed our way through another Zerg rush and into another bunker, where we educated our fellow soldiers about the collective bad vibes driving the Tyranids to crash against us as we charged the big guns. Back outside, I was having the time of my life blasting those loser lizards like idiots in a barrel. Then came the twist. The targeting system for the futuristic orbital guns was manual. Didn't see that coming. Next, we climbed the tower to scream at the birds, and there were a lot of birds. We had to protect the antennas from the flying vermin. Up until that point, I'd been feeling invincible in combat, but here I had to find cover and pop some meds just to stay alive. With some quick acupuncture and clever maneuvering, we managed to pull through without complete disaster. The grand finale. Another mighty firework display lighting up the sky. Back at the base, this asshat complained to me about the way I run things. I swear, I'm going to put small amounts of sand in all his socks. After watching Sharon's wildly inappropriate PDA with his boyfriend, our next mission was handed to us. Archmage Beta was holed up in the danger zone, refusing to budge without his precious grimoire. Before heading out, I scored access to the armoring hall. Like a kid on Christmas morning, I snagged the melter rifle as my first weapon to try, and I was positively throbbing when I laid eyes on the Thunder Bunker. Too bad it's locked for now. I hate window shopping for things I can't have. Our old friend Majorina Sarkana was already sick of Beta's crap, and as expected, we couldn't just slap some sense into him. Instead, had to follow his stupid instructions to extract his scriptures. The melter rifle was a blast. Boom! Sure, it's got a short range, but my short attention span, fuse and planning skills make us a perfect match.
Oops. Ootas mä lataan. There we go. Kiitos.
While I was experiencing the sudden stroke of blood of emotion and newfound empathy from the Tyranid population, Lianu went down for the first time. I can't begin to describe how disappointed I was. Then a Likitung beat the Sonic coins right out of me. I wasn't feeling so full of myself after that. This boss fight really helped me understand how Rambo felt fighting against the Predator. Another lesson seared into my brain: armor is not, in fact, cover. Not anymore. Next, we had to fry some Skavens with a flamethrower to progress. Great. It didn't help that Beta Mage kept Skype calling us mid-mission, using a microphone worse than the toy radios I had as a kid. And that occasional creepy breathing didn't do any favors either. Space Marines really need to handle a lot of crap, huh? And the Tyranids? They keep biting the hand that feeds them. They really should rethink their strategy. After running a few miles in the wrong direction, we reached a dead end where the only way forward required our heroes to hoist their feet uncomfortably high, knees almost touching their chests. Space Marines are famous for having bad backs. I really dug those rat segments though. They were claustrophobic and time sensitive, just how I like them.
Oi!
And those annoying weather balloons, they acted like Wi-Fi hotspots for the Tyranid bad vibes. We took them out at the earliest opportunity. Mission complete. With enough chickens grilled, we sent the scribbles to Mr. Nosy. Naturally, as he made his exit off the world, his ship got blasted down. It would have been too easy otherwise. Never mind, we got jetpacks. No complaints here. This is awesome.
Yeah!
Onkohan se Tech-Priest vielä hengissä?
No jos nää ei oo, niin en usko.
Yeah, Mr. Nosring got turned into an idiot on a stick. And now, of course, chaos is involved too. What a massive headache. Back at base, everyone and their mothers grilled me about my migraine. I tried to dodge the doctor's appointment, but they practically strong-armed me into it. Appointment scheduled, whether I liked it or not. Since the genius who could translate our data got pinned, we had to bring in Sleaze, no skid's hapless apprentice, to do the dirty work, a bite-sized solution. So it was back to Planet Kleenex. My new power sword was shockingly fun. That's when I realized we were jetpackless. Boo. Tyranids really understand that those who don't play with their food are missing out. They have a good taste. I've noticed that all the Space Marine tech is kind of crap, but at least it somehow works.
Victor!
Oi ei.
Yes, lickers are now standard enemies. Fighting one in the dark was an experience. Thankfully, my flamethrower doubled as a makeshift candle. It doesn't do much damage, but it improves the ambience. Finally, a rematch against that living love child of a rhino, pedo and lizard. It nearly ruined our day a couple of times, really bugging us. But that killer execution animation made it all worth it. And that earned a dance of victory. So, the techno-breeds don't actually know how anything works, they just worship the machine spirit, light up some candles, act pretentious, sacrifice a goat. We're not so different after all. Anyway, we got the location of Sleaze. Next we had to keep the Zergs away from a reactor. Luckily, they only charged the thing from one side. It was pretty easy. If you can ignore getting bobbed on the nose with plasma every now and then. My only complaint, once again, the tech failed us and we had to operate everything manually. Seriously, why do they even make the clerical error of paying the techno guys? Back at base, we endured the classic lecture, don't question our corrupted overlords as they try to pull the doomsday switch. With Sleaze's whereabouts known to everyone on the scene except for anyone sporting a beard, we were sent on a fetch quest. A transport ship came in, blazing and landing as if it were nursing a hangover. I figured it must have burst into flames purely thanks to how much the Imperium's tech really sucks. I waited, half expecting it to blow up. It didn't. Next up, Kleenex again. This time, our ship had an engine erupt into an unhelpful fireball. And wouldn't you know it, it was the one on the same side. Factory level screw-ups? That's what I think. We weren't worried though. Be it an action movie or a game, crashing is how these things tend to get to the ground. Of course, Tyranids were still on the menu. These speed bumps had me seriously worried, especially since we can't even jump or lift our feet properly. Luckily, the obstacles gave way. After helping the locals to fight off the big meanies, we got a side quest. Fight off a neurotrope, a pharmaceutical. Getting hit by xenotoxins was always a good time. It's like dunking your head in a bucket of puke.
Oi! Digitung! Peter Sharon, nice try! You almost got me!
I lost internet connection and had to play this part again. See how I dodged that doorknob licker? So cool. First try. These elevator parts make me think of Mass Effect, but at least I can listen to the bickering without interruptions. Even though we were playing on the baby's first video game difficulty, normal, the neuro monster proved to be a tough nut.
Hey! Hey! What?
It gave me a sudden, unexplainable craving for an energy drink. While I was getting bullied in a corner, Lianu and Sharon flipped its ribcage like it was a pancake. After that, I got lost on a one-way street until a cutscene set me free. Brother from another mother assured us that the toy soldiers had things under control and even gave us a lift. Then, in the next scene, another brother said they needed help and bolted. Didn't see that coming. Varilux offered to join us. I was stoked to have a fourth member, but deep down in my meow meow, I knew it wasn't meant to be. The weight limit for the missions is 3. In a tragic twist, Sharon's bestie lost his life to a traitor with a firecracker. On the dark side, chaos officially made its entrance. Variety is the spice of life. Lianu schooled me that this flavor of Chaos Marines don't have their bodies because of a spell gone wrong. What has science done? The defected toy soldiers though, I found them very cute.
Come here, you little pipsqueaks!
When we spotted a Chaos Marine taking out the trash, Sharon just completely lost it and charged alone into the fray. All we could do to help was cleaning the surroundings, and I couldn't help but to think it was a bit racist that only Sharon could pull off that jump. I wanted to join him, darn it! After squeezing an eyeball, we fought our way across the bridge, only to be stumped by a tiny fence that mocked our efforts.
Recruit! How, Fadamaka?
I calmly and compassionately explained to Sharon why his stunt wasn't, in fact, cool. Meanwhile, the Chaos were using magic to drill to break into Sleaze's chambers. Naturally, we decided to meddle. Apparently, just standing near the drill weakens it. Go figure. But the real kicker? I discovered my new favorite weapon, the plasma incinerator. With that power play behind us, we grabbed Sleaze and dragged him back with us. Mission accomplished. For now, heretics, the bed name for Chaos, were popping up all around Kleenex. Another pain in the rear in addition to the Tyranids. Next plan? Take out the Hive Tyrant. Nice! Finally a fight I was looking forward to.
Chaplain Chan.
Double-chan!
I had to check in with my parole officer between missions. He's never had much faith in me, and honestly, who could blame him? Back on Kleenex, it hit me. We were just the messenger squad. Another team was in charge of taking down the Hive Tyrant. Sure, it was a bit disappointing, but when someone else actually completes an assignment in a video game, weirdly satisfying. To get over the next bit, we ordered some jump packs. Knowing what fun lay ahead, Galadriel couldn't wait, and it was his turn to act out of line too. Our cutscene cells are so cool.
Nää ei kans osaa yhtään käyttäytyä.
I can't overstate how much fun those jump packs are. Of course, we didn't get to keep them for long.
Ei!
With the objective playing hide and seek and my attention failing, I wasn't sure what the task at hand was, so I just kept popping the lizards on the nose when they tried to get on my level. We ruined the Carnifex's day so badly that it vacated the premises in sheer embarrassment.
Mihin vittu se lähti?
Tippui.
Then, when its three big brothers came for revenge, we thought we'd finally met our match, but thanks to the other team, the Hive Tyrant fell, and the bad juju Wi-Fi was cut off for good.
No, mä luulen, että tästä olisi oikeasti kunnon tappelu.
After that, all that was left was a soundtrack of bickering that could pass for elevator music, and a nice BBQ with our smaller brothers around a bonfire. Our next stop, someone's kink dungeon. Some granny was struck with hysteria, and Galadriel finally let his emotions unravel, apparently all because of that infamous Sand in Socks incident. Then Sharon knocked the old lady out with his gun, and just when you thought it couldn't get stranger, Two-Face showed up. He was flying around with his mobility board like a dog turd in a hurricane, but before we could harvest his toes, he flash-fried our retinas and ran off. JK, Two-Face had phase 2. This time, he really ran away, screaming something into the comms that I couldn't quite decipher. I can't hear heresy. In the end, Galadriel and I agreed to disagree, like adults. For our next mission, we had to push deep into enemy territory, plant a beacon, and ram a huge ship into the enemy's colossal thingamabob. We cranked up the difficulty to veteran. Things had been feeling way too easy lately. Our spines had started to realign, and we simply couldn't have that. It was also the intended experience. We both learned something that day. I learned that I should probably plan my challenges with something resembling forethought, and Lieniu learned that entrusting me with such decisions was about as wise as handing a chimpanzee a live grenade and hoping for the best. The probation officer was bored out of his skull and itching for another check-in. During our flight, Titus and Galadriel decided it was time for some character development. To touch grass, we had to fly through a maze of space wreckage armed with jetpacks. Not the wreckage, we had the jetpacks. It was so freaking cool. I like my gravity how I like my common sense, close to zero. And for the first time, we got to try the Thunder Bonkers. It would be a perfect weapon against the Slanesh.
Yeah!
On Veteran, survival got real. Our armor was down to 2 measly bars. Enemies started hitting like tax collectors, and I had to dust off my cover tactics and use my noodle again. After sowing the beacon, we held position while our battering ram adjusted course. I rushed in to help Lieniu tussle with a Chaos Terminator, only to be brushed off like a pesky fly. Next thing I knew, I'd flown out of bounds. Some might call that a skill issue. I call it aggressively exploring the map. I decided that counted as revival and reloaded a checkpoint. The higher difficulty was exactly what we needed. Our fannies had gone unpunished long enough. Once the cleanup was done, the ramming happened. There was an explosion, pure cool chaos, Cook's kiss. We started calling out targets and adapting on the fly. We even improvised backup plans. I'd take the front and bonk the little guys, while Lieniu picked off the rear line. Everything felt strangely rewarding, until a Terminator almost put me into a deep but YouTube-friendly coma. Fortunately, Sharon understood the magic of friendship. Then some sorcerer warped onto the scene, we concentrated our grenades and ammo on him and his goobers, handed him his weapon back, and watched him check out before he could do any real damage. I had been ignoring the side areas to keep the missions feeling urgent and immersive, but we had to start checking for stim packs. Our HP was rarely full.
Thank you!
Oli ihan hyvä.
All this heavy metal on my beautiful temple of a body felt pointless when everything hurt, but the true tragedy was, it covered too much real estate for me to seduce my way to victory. I can safely admit that it was pretty close to the end game when, in a fit of frustration, I started breaking random boxes, only to realize they spilled out ammo, grenades, and other goodies. A whole new world lifted its skirt and flashed me, mind blown. Big open areas, though, were a nightmare. I was desperately trying to hide from plasma plasma bursts burning through my life points. But the flying blue skulls of bad news were what really hurt my feelings. We found Sleaze's location. The Chaos Marines were playing red light, green light with him. Sleaze is an asshat that wouldn't turn away. We smashed all the living armor statues like piñatas. With happy thoughts spilling out, we delivered the message to Sleaze. Whatever you're doing, stop it. Get some help. Naturally, he refused. The hoverboarding idiot arrived on the scene, shockingly. Then he done summoned his big brother to the party.
Uh-oh.
Ret nautti.
Madamaka.
Cutscenes fill our life meters, which normally look forward to those. However, this was probably the first time we weren't too thrilled when the cutscene was over. It became painfully clear I wasn't equipped to fight that brute with my meager skills. Trying to melee it got me hit with Uno reverse. Turning my back to the brute wasn't such a great idea either. The second round started with less than ideal HP. Naturally, I learned nothing and went for the melee again, but was forced to adapt my strategy when that thing started shooting at me. Rude. I kept the stupid big dumb idiot busy by hugging the pillar and shot it in the back when it wasn't looking to tenderize my buttocks.
Yikes! No!
It's a good thing my armor allowed me to tank one mistake every now and then.
Mulle. Yes!
This is the end for you, wretched thing.
Mulla ei ollut yhtään HP:tä.
After all the bruises and bloodied noses, the whole thing turned out to be a trap, because, of course it did.
Yeah, bro, let me get on that right away.
Yeah, little pinned here.
Little busy here.
In a little rocky situation.
We pulled that off-screen survival stunt, just like how the low-quality flicks do. Met up with Captain Beard, followed his lead, and then got slapped with fire by a dragon on a bridge. What is this? Dark Souls? Next mission, trekking on foot to a massive obelisk. It was all sunshine, gumdrops and ice cream. A pretty sweet time, until it came time to raise the banner. Making a last stand, not giving an inch to the enemy, sent chills right down my spine. If I got to choose a way to go out, this is one of my options. Things were looking pretty grim until Grandpa Color Girl came to save the day. He's so freaking cool! After a hearty group hug, Galadriel pointed out that if we flipped the obelisk, it might turn the enemy's chaos buff into a debuff, and he was right, though he should have used both hands on that one. Things were rolling along too nicely until another Terminator stomped in and booted my confidence right out the door, straight into another reload screen. With heightened senses, we pushed forward, using every tactic available to preserve our health, but the real kick in the kneecap was the Hell Brute, that announced its presence by trying to make sure there wasn't enough left of me to claim medical insurance. Most unwelcome. Running around a pillar was a column of success. Sharon reminds me of a honey patcher. Sharon doesn't care. Sharon doesn't give a crap. It was Leonu's turn to apply the finishing touches to the brute, proving that sometimes brute force can be an art form. It takes a delicate touch to peacefully pacify someone like this. While we were busy dodging the end of the line, another team managed to provide a monumental turnaround, and as we wandered through the train sewers, we got yet another reminder why this game is so gosh darn cool. This experience just stays on track.
Where are the traitors? They are everywhere. Honored brother, join us, and you may sate your rage and aid our cause. Lead me to the slaughter!
Having a dreadnought as backup had us squealing like schoolgirls. I thought we had this in the bag, but then the enemies casted a weird sorcery that sucked out all the frames out of my eyes. Dropping the settings didn't help my PC's ass, and even Karen was too cool to use both hands to work the shaft. Two-Face wasn't too happy with us 360ing his buffs. He couldn't face all that spin. The gold dragon struck us with the pause button, and then Grandpa Cowgirl, decked out in gear bought with his Puma privilege, strode proudly into the Isekai gate. We weren't about to let him hog all the waifus. After all, sharing is caring, even in a multiverse of mayhem. Past the gate, time was taking a chill pill, and Cowgirl was nowhere in sight. All we needed was a casual stroll to the final big bad. No time like the present for a little destiny. We exchanged pleasantries with Two-Face. The guy bobbed a nade into his own goal, which revealed that maskless Phantom of the Opera had stashed our Grandpa in his pocket. The fight kicked off in high gear. I lobbed everything back at him, and then some. But after surviving a banishment to the Shadow Realm, Two-Face turned me into a plus-sized human jigsaw puzzle. Round 2 brought his friend, the goat dragon dragon demon thing into the fray. That big dummy drained all our supplies, and Lianu had a surprise heart attack. We got to start the third round straight at the goat fight. A checkpoint mid-boss. How charitable. It was like an escape room with an open plan, except there is no escape. Two-Face and the goat. I hope all their plans die, and they never find something nice to watch on the first try. It was never about winning. It was about leaving as many scars behind as possible. After our retinas got flash fried, we found ourselves in the Shadow Realm, together. Imitations surrounded us, but they didn't face me. I broke them all the same, like cheap knockoffs. Once I finally broke a sweat, we ambled toward whatever had them all gawking, and that's when we found Grandpa Cowgirl. He made me recite a code phrase to prove that I'm not a girl so I can enter his treehouse. Then we fought our way to the Skybeam together. My bros kept the goat busy, while I dragged myself to the last drama dial. I twisted that heresy handle with 2 hands. Take notes, idiots, and, as a bonus, Two-Face got Thanos snapped. If I had one gripe, it'd be waiting for those boss animations. But hey, not everyone lives in a state of perpetual zoomies. A few breathers sprinkled in here and there can be nice. For my hard work, I earned the workplace equivalent of "thanks for never taking a sick day. Here's a watch." Guess time really does reward dedication. Pun intended. And to top it all off, my probation officer finally revealed his face, and it turned out he was Kylo Ren. And that's how we beat Space Marine 2 without using revive. After this, I think I need to hit the gym. And that's it for this time, folks. Do the engagement things to help me out. Tell me in the comments what I could have done better, or if you have other challenges/games for me to play. If this video does well, I have more ideas for this game. Let me know if you want more of Space Marine 2, or maybe Space Marine 1? Thanks for watching, see you next time, take care now, bye bye then.